I think I'm saying that we struggle all our lives to answer it. That it's the struggle that is important. That's what helps us to define our place in the universe.
This is Beverly, Dr. Beverly, Dr. Beverly Crusher.
Look where we are. Here, all of us, in this moment. So let's do what we spent our entire lives learning to be great at.
And this is Crusher Convo. Hey guys, and welcome to Crusher Convo. We're crushing the conversation one episode at a time. Here is my quick review of Season 3, Episode 5 of Strange New Worlds through the lens of time. Now, don't forget, if you haven't seen this episode yet, please turn back now because there will be spoilers.
Spoilers.
When I was watching this episode for my Patreon members, I was pretty quiet because there was a lot happening. And the one thing that I was just trying to process was exactly like what was going on, because they're talking about interdimensional flux, and then it's ancient. So then it's a, archaeological dig. And all these things were kind of mixed together, and it was kind of confusing for me at first. I understood it later on, obviously. So I guess that was a very good mystery in that sense. But, you kind of knew that something was going to be happening, and something very, very bad, especially when an ensign has a personal log.
Please don't make it weird. Oh, you're good with that? Look, if you're really worried about Spock behaving around Corby, then just ask him. We're all adults here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going to get this out of the way. I was really happy about how La'an, told Chapel, like, hey, let's not do this. We're all adults here. Like, if you have something to say, please talk to Spock. And yeah, Chapel, talk to Spock. Like, stop dancing around this. If you're really okay with her and Spock doing their thing, then why does it matter? Why don't you just ask him? Is it uncomfortable for you? Sure. That's understandable. But why would you just not go to him? And I think Spock was a little cold in the turbo lift, which probably what makes her so uncomfortable. But I think he just also doesn't know how to handle it. So he shuts off his emotions, right? He doesn't want to feel anything. He's having a good time with La'an, and he doesn't want to be reminded about everything that he went through with Chapel. But, for her to ask, like, hey, let's make sure that this goes good because it means a lot to Corby. Spock's not going to, intentionally do something wrong, right? So I thought that was a little weird. And even when they were down and Spock had to come with La'an, he is the senior officer and he was being cautious, right? And Chapel was being emotional of like, let's not go. Corby was kind of being an ass, but I think it was just more of like, he's not part of Starfleet. And so this was a lot to him. And so he was going to fight for it. Okay, fine. I'll accept that. But with Chapel and Spock, she kind of just like tiptoes around everything. And it's kind of like, come on. You guys decided to break up. He clearly didn't get the hint. You didn't really handle it well by telling him ahead of time. And so this is the end result. So that's kind of on you, Chapel. I'm just saying.
It's a memory stone.
It's just like the ones we found in Pretoria. Christine, this is exactly what we came here to find.
Careful.
Clearly, I knew something was going to happen to Gamble at this point, especially because he was so excited about going onto an away team. And at first, of course, you don't grab anything you don't know. That was a total mistake on his part, but it started glowing. He looks at it. I'm surprised that La'an didn't say, put it down, instead of her saying, be careful, because, again, it's glowing in his hand. How do we not know it's anything dangerous? And also, because they already found the bodies. So she already was cautious as it was. So I was really surprised by her. And then, of course, shoots out his eyes and everything. Of course, as we find out later, he was killed instantly. Like, there was no more Gamble. Gamble was killed and his body was taken over. I was kind of confused at first. I thought like, oh, it just took out his eyes. Is this how we're going to start the whole tech that Geordi, with the Geordi visor? Like, that was kind of my thing. No, very, very wrong. And, as he's talking to Mbenga and he's getting a little bit more personal, you kind of start to be like, that doesn't seem like Gamble. And of course, Mbenga's finding and noticing some readings that don't match. And all of a sudden he's flipping and you see the little smile and it was really weird. And you're like, okay, there is something in his body and that is not Gamble. And of course, this leads to this scene.
Oh, they've got you now. It's Professor Bam, Captain.
What the hell was that? I mean, all of a sudden, when Marie comes in, her Gorn side just kicks in and they speak some freaking foreign language, which kind of makes me think that the Gorn is also ancient. I'm not really sure on that part. I don't know what they're going with. But she all of a sudden just started kicking ass. And so did this thing that's in Gamble. And that was what was weird. It was like, what is going on that they saw each other as enemies? And even later on, when you see Spock and Corby stuck in that other part of the dimension, and he had picked up one of those balls and it, shot out some creature coming at them, it looked like the Gorn. So it was like, is this like a bad Gorn cousin, like Romulan and Vulcans? Like, I don't know what's going on at that aspect. But clearly this seemed like something that the Gorn, like, they did this, right? Like, this is them trapping them because these are very malevolent beings and they should not be released. So, again, very mysterious, kind of confusing. Marie kicked ass, but then that just kind of questions what the hell is happening to Marie. And yeah, it was very, very interesting on what was going on here, especially because it was really, really evident that Gamble was gone.
On a quantum level, the particles that make up this beholder are in constant flux, both here and not here. Quantum instability at a molecular level.
Great. So what does that mean?
Not a clue.
I loved the scene because as Chapel is trying to explain it and she's so excited, La'an's like, that's great. What does that mean? I have no idea. And the thing is that, Chapel is science and she's medicine, right? But she started loving this whole mystery thing with Corby, with, the whole archaeological digs and stuff. And she started to just kind of grow outside of that box that she was always in. And so it was cool to see her do something a little different and get excited, but she just didn't quite understand it. But of course, it was her that kind of, led the way of how to get them all together back in the same dimension. But it was also Spock, because Spock realized that he had injured himself, when he was already with Corby, but then he had injured himself later when he was with the group. So he knew that everything was kind of backwards. And so he knew it was all connected, even though they see something different. Clearly, they're still in one, it's just in a flux. They're in one place. It kind of reminded me of that TNG episode. At first, I was thinking it was Contagion, but no, that was a little bit different. I'm thinking of the episode of We'll Always Have Paris, because Dr. Mannheim broke the fabric of space and he was in two places at once, and it was this confusing thing. And I think that's where Data was in 3 different places trying to close the gap. So that was a little Easter egg in my head. But again, to know what were these beings? Was this a TOS reference? Like they were naming off some creatures and planets and all that stuff that I'm all like, these feel like they have meaning. And I didn't get the reference, and I'm hoping you guys did, because I was like, oh, I hope someone kind of explains this to me. But again, they all had to work together in order to make this work. And Spock and Chapel always work well together. Probably not to Corby's liking, but it worked. And she had to explain to him, like, there had to be trust. And he wouldn't have put her in danger, and she knew that. So that was good to see. And Corby had to respect that. And I liked that. I liked that he allowed that to happen. But anyways, it was more of just, back and forth and stuff, because whatever they were going through down there didn't seem as important as what was happening on the Enterprise, right? With the whole Gamble being possessed and stuff like that. And that story with M'Benga, because there he goes, he loses someone else that he was fond of. And then he feels guilty because he is the one that put him on the away roster. So that's going to be hard for M'Benga probably later on, because, it's very hard to lose not only a colleague, but someone that was under your care.
There is evil in this universe, as sure as there is good. As sure as there is matter, as sure as there is light. I know that being was ancient, malevolent. The desire to malign, to pervert, and consume, giving corporal form. If any of those things ever escaped that well down there, God help us all.
I wanted to highlight Pelea's scene here because she's the one that ended up having to kill Gamble as the host in order to trap that being, okay? And as much as M'Benga was like really hoping that Gamble was still there, deep down I think he knew that Gamble was gone. And Pelea had to act quickly. Like, she has been around for a long time, and she's saying these things are older than me, right? And she was scared. And this also kind of showcase of like, is this going to happen in the future? Did it already happen? I haven't seen Disco, so I don't know if this is going to happen later on, but it seems like maybe somewhere in a show, these creatures might be unleashed, or maybe they destroy the planet. So then, I guess they can't really destroy it because this is all a history to those other aliens, but there's something going down there and it needs to be stopped. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give this 3.5 Gambles. Yep, that's what I'm going to do in honor of Gamble. We didn't really get to know Yi very much. We liked him in the very first episode, and then I think it was the other one where, Spock pushed him because he was doing the mind meld with Marie, and then this one, and then all of a sudden he's dead. So I don't know. I feel kind of like I wish we got to know him more like Hemmer, right? Like, give him a few more episodes before you kill him off. But that's just how it is, I guess. So anyways, I'm going to give it 3.5. I thought it was fine. Like, it was a very interesting episode. I just don't know if it was, like I said, the stuff that was happening down in the surface with the away team wasn't grasping my attention as much as what was happening up on the Enterprise. So I guess I kind of give that why it's just a smidge of a lower grade. But it wasn't bad. I didn't mind it at all. R.I.P. Gamble. Again, barely knew Yi. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Give me your rating out of Ensign Gambles. And of course, like this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. And of course, you can catch me here on Friday nights when I go live, talk about certain episodes or characters or even just a theme. I should be coming back in September. Right now, I'm a little bit on a hiatus, especially with Strange New Worlds out. But anyway, guys, I had so much fun at STLV. Thank you for all those who had stopped at my table. It was so much fun talking to you guys. And until next time, live long and prosper. Bye.
Crusher out.